What's up, guys? It's WMMA here with a full event breakdown of UFC 316 with all my predictions. This card, not too many big ranking fights out of the top two fights. We got Serghei Spivac, right? But outside of that, a lot of it is just aura matchups like Patchy Mix debuting or Joe Pyfer being unranked, hopefully killing Kelvin Gastelum, hunting down that big old beach whale. We got some Azamat Murzakanov. Oh yeah, but we'll get right into these prelims. Yanal Ashmouz versus Quillan Salkilld. Now, Quillan Salkilld is the guy who did just one pump and Jubilee. And the thing, look at the odds on this fight, dude. Is he minus 455? Because sure, he should still be the favorite. But Yanal Ashmouz's only loss is to Chris Duncan, who's been looking good, other than getting KO'd on the Contender Series by Slava. And the thing is, when he lost to Chris Duncan, Yanal Ashmouz broke his arm in that fight. Outside of that, he beat Sam Patterson, who's been nothing but looking good recently, and beat Trevor Peek, who maybe hasn't been looking the best, but I swear Trevor Peek isn't that bad. Like, he's a decent win to have. Not the best win, but like a solid, well-rounded, okay, you got some heart, you beat Trevor Peek. You might have just outskilled him and didn't need to use your heart, but it's like it's like beating down a watered-down Diaz, bro. It's a solid win. Quillan Salkilld, when you look at his regionals, it's like not pure bums. We'll get to later on the card. There are some people who are fighting nobody's like losing to Anshel Jubilee later on the card. Like, goddamn, it's bad. But this bummer clock went 5 rounds for a title fight on the regional scenes. He won his regional title, defended it twice. He's fought some solid grapplers. The guy was like 5-2 or 5-1, but had a lot of grappling matches, so that does look good. Or that could mean you soy too. But he won the belt against a 7-1 guy who hasn't fought since. But there's just a lot of solid good wins, and it felt like Ashmouz, even though he did break his arm in the Chris Duncan fight, there were parts of that fight where it was getting away. Even though Chris Duncan isn't the biggest lightweight, he did a good job of just staying at range, circling a lot, and just picking him apart. And Ashmouz's defense is good enough to not get absolutely one shot like Anshel Jubilee, but he's still going to get touched up, outrangey strikered by Quillan Salkilld, because Quillan Salkilld feels pretty comfortable on the outside, just picking his straights, right? Landing his nice little jabs, the leg kicks. He's very comfortable from the outside. And training with Bedtime MMA. Got some good training partners in there. I think his wrestling defense is enough for Yanal Ashmouz. Ashmouz's wrestling is decent, but it's not like, no, it's crazy. Oh my God, right? It's like nothing insane to write home about. It's solid. He's a solid, well-rounded guy. But Quillan Salkilld just got that aura. He's got that power. And as I was saying, not enough, I think, to finish him, but enough to make him respect him, not rush in, stay on the outside, enough to point fight to a 30-27, 29-28. Kind of mixed scorecards, but still a clear win for Quillan Salkilld. Moving on. Oh, I need to click on that fool. Jeka. Oh, yeah. Oh, the UFC app is so good. There we go. Jeka Saragih versus Jooseong Yeo. See, now, I fucked up his name, sure, but I don't think I'm going to have to remember his name much. This is the fool that I was saying has lost to Anshel Jubilee. So, let's go over some facts about this fool. Fact 1. Got finished by, when I said lost, I forgot to say finished by Anshel Jubilee. And round 1 finished by, I think round 2 in the Jubilee fight, but round 1 finished by Weston Wilson. Do you remember that guy? When you watch the Weston Wilson for Gene Silva finishing sequence, I think the commentators are yelling, Weston Wilson's I think like Michael Bisping, he's fighting like he's underwater. It's so bad. Weston Wilson is just falling apart. Gene Silva's ripping his head off, right? Not an easier matchup for Gene Silva in the UFC, and Jeka has lost to him. Fact 2, he is just, all of his wins seemingly are just almost all bums. It's like in UFC 5 career mode, when you get the chance to fight in the Contender Series and you say no and just fight WFA fighters over and over again on the regional scene, you just beat can after can after can. It's just so easy. That's who Jeka has been fighting. On the other hand, Jooseong Yeo, he is fighting also tomato cans, but what's nice at least about the tomato can scene for Okay, the difference between Asian tomato cans and the Western tomato cans. In Asia, there'll be at least experience. Like, look, record 18-7. Bro, that's as good as Poirier's record. Like, win rate. Oh, okay, I shouldn't be comparing that though. And another guy, 35-25. Like, they are bumps. Don't get me wrong. They do coin flip, but that's better than a 0-3. Oh, I'll be an 0-3 guy who barely can tie his shoelaces together. Like, okay, at least this guy Drew saying yo got some craft experience in that, right? And also, this guy Jenner MMA, he has this whole anime scale when picking Asian fighters, and I know they're both Asian, but I think Korea takes favor over Indonesia in the weeaboo scale. It has to, right? Like, Indonesia is, what is it, Austronesian? At least Korea is more on that. I don't know where I'm going with this, but just off that merit, you saying, yo, round 1 finish. Gonna pick up the pace on this card. Gonna get a nice highlight. No reach. I don't even think Tapology had his reach, but I still think it's gonna be a pretty easy pick for Drew Sang Yo. Moving on. Yeah. Oh, UFC app is so bad. Ariane de Silva versus Wang Cong. I mean, Ariane de Silva is 6-7 in the UFC. Been finished 4 of those 7 losses. Wang Cong only lost in her entire career. Also has an illustrious Muay Thai career, beating Valentina Shevchenko for my hardcores out there. But Wang Cong only lost, got fraud checked by a bum, random Brazilian. I think she's getting super cocky, hanging her chin out there. I'm making every excuse in the book because we need one female fighter with any aura. So rooting for Wang Cong. Hopefully she learns how to tuck her chin this time. But yeah, should be a Wang Cong round 2 finish. I could see her playing it safe and dragging it to decision just because she's scared now. But easy win for Wang Cong. Moving on. MarQuel Mederos. Oh my God. I picked his last fight so well. Oh my God. I was so hyped about this. But okay, MarQuel Mederos. His last fight was against Austin Hubbard. Also, may I say, Austin Hubbard at the start of the month. This guy is trying to stay super active. He tried to fight last week. I love that in guys trying to just stay active, showing they're ready. No injuries, just trying to fight out there. And his last fight, I was like, he's fighting Austin Hubbard. Most people are picking him, but I think it's a pretty close fight. Austin Hubbard could just make it boring and sit on him. That fight went to a super close split decision where they favored MarQuel Mederos on damage, right? It was just a slight edge to him because he was landing more shots in the 3rd round, even though he got out controlled. Now, it does sound like I am self-glazing a lot right now, but now that is important because he is fighting a grappler who is not consistently finishing every time. So possibly, what damage could weigh into this? No way, right? So they don't even know this guy's reach either on Tapology. He is a nobody. Like, and when you inspect each opponent this guy has fought, it is bum after bum. And MarQuel sure has fought some bums too. But he has fought twice in the UFC. Austin Hubbard. Did I write down the other name? I don't think so. But the thing is with who is he? He fought, I don't remember his name, but it was another prospect. Not like a crazy good, super hyped up prospect, but a decent prospect that was like a 50-50 fight. And not saying these are insanely good fighters, but these are fighters that are tuned. If you're another UFC 5 reference, if you tune your fighters to hard, not pro or any of the harder difficulties, just hard. If you tune them to hard and then give them like the standard, decent 4-star grappling, 4-star striking, MarQuel Mederos beat those guys. Whoever this Mark Choinski guy is beating easy, random, like in the backyard street beef style. That's the level of people he's beating. Like, oh, check this guy's record. Oh, he's 4-7 now. I'm just like, there's some where it's like, oh, he's only 5-2. Not a bad win. And then you check who he's fighting for, the Anthony Pettis Fight League. Oh, the guys he trains with, the guys he's in camp with constantly. He's getting easy fights from that. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm sure they're just like hooking him up because he's like, he needs fights and shit like that. But come on, bro. Got me think like he is just fighting cans, and not when you're fighting cans, finish them. And I know MarQuel Mederos didn't finish every single can he fought, but most of the people, there's like one can where it's like, you should have finished him. But every other person that he didn't finish was like, oh, you had a decent record. Oh, you had a decent record. Oh, 5-3. Oh, you knocked that fool out, right? Mark Choinski half the time is going to decision with 4-2 random, 5-5 random, shit like that. But MarQuel Mederos, I think pretty safely. I could see it getting stalled into a non-finish, but I think it'll still be a 30-27 pretty clear win for MarQuel Mederos. He's gone through some grappling camps back-to-back, or at least in his last fight, this will be his second grappling camp in a row. I think it'll be a lot easier for him this time around. And I think an easier opponent too, I have to say. But moving on to Khaos. See now, I thought this was... I'm going with the autistic pick on this one. I'm sorry. Okay. Listen to this. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Khaos Williams first because I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant. But Khaos Williams, dude, the hype has slowly died down on this guy. I remember, oh my god, did you see what he did to what's that guy's name with big thighs? Oh, I cannot remember. He's from Cameroon though. He knocked that guy out so bad. It's like, oh my god, Khaos Williams gotta watch out. Then he knocked out another guy brutally, and it's like, oh, and then he fought that skinny fat Peruvian guy. Teep to the body, little jab. He got dragged into a tit for tat battle, and time after time again, every time he's dragged into a non-finish, he's just shown he is awfully mediocre, pretty sloppy, wings these big hooks around, not doing any like big damage, just hoping they graze, and hopefully in the third round they'll land clean and knock the guy out. But there's a lot of nothing in between. And now, I'm not saying Andreas has this elusive outside. Oh, keep my range. Throw a nice little couple jabs. Freak you out. He doesn't have that style at all. He has a completely different style. And I could see him wading in and getting caught on the chin whilst trying to force a clinch like he usually does. But listen to this. He is 34, right? But he does have that right kind of fucking cuckoo in his head. Or you saw what he posted on his Instagram story. This guy's insane, right? He said 3 canceled fights in the UFC already. He tried to fight in 2025 3 times or 2 times. Like, he just wants to fight. This guy's got that testosterone building up. But listen to some stats, right? He smushed that guy in the Contender Series. His last 6 wins have come by KO or TKO. Oh, what was some other thing? Yeah, his last 2 losses, sorry. One was a split decision. One was a majority decision. Those are the only 2 losses on his career, and they're arguable. I didn't watch them. I didn't care enough to watch them. But they're arguable for him. See, if he doesn't get caught in rushing in like a big old grunt, like he'd rush in like a grunt from Halo or whatever stupid mob you can imagine, right? And if he doesn't get caught with a clean counter that, let's be honest, Khaos Williams doesn't really consistently land, Andreas Gustafsson will get that clinch. What do you think will happen in that clinch? Do you think Khaos Williams will be trying to outwork him? I think if he tries to outwork Andreas Gustafsson, he will end up gassing himself up. He kind of has to just wait, try to break from the clinch, but then Andreas Gustafsson will shoot again. I think Khaos Williams, without landing that round 1 crazy flatline KO, will just get broken by knees to the body, knees upstairs, knees to the body. And let's not add in when the knees in the clinch are only happening because Andreas Gustafsson can't get a takedown. What if he just gets a takedown in this fight, right? Like his last fight too. He might have just been focusing more on the clinch damage and not as much on the takedown. So he might be a lot more improved wrestling than I'm even imagining in this matchup. But throws Khaos Williams to the ground. He just got subbed by Bonfim. He just got exposed down there. And I know it's because Bonfim can mix it up too. But that was different. That was like an out in the open single leg, work to the fence, drag down, right? This is all constant fence pressure. Work. It's like a Marab kind of fence pressure where it's just like working to break you. And I think Khaos Williams' inactivity in the feet, not making Andreas Gustafsson respect him enough other than, I have big power, even though I'm not going to throw it, will kind of risk him this fight and throw the fight for him. Once this fight, I keep saying, once this fight exits round 1, Andreas Gustafsson, I think is a solid. I think he's an underdog. I think that's the only reason I'm picking him. I think Khaos. This is a pretty close fight, and both of them have their good arguments. But I'm just Andreas Gustafsson, and I think we're gonna see Khaos Williams' chin. Like he's kind of a foot out of the game. He started up some other business like a year or 2 ago, doing some other bullshit. He's on the other side of 30 now, right? I don't remember how far into 30, but not the youngest bloke anymore. Not that Andreas is either, but come on, old head for old head, it cancels out, and I just think Andreas wants it more. Debuting, hungry guy. But let's move on. The big old fat heavyweight matchup. Serghei Spivac versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now, more of my breakdown comes into making fun of Waldo Cortes-Acosta. No offense. Serghei Spivac is 1-2 in his last 3. So maybe thinking, man, he's over the edge. He's not the same guy. He's also very young for, I think, when he was on the come up, he was in his mid-20s to late 20s. So he's kind of just running into that prime now, especially for heavyweight being the old fat man division. He's coming into it. And I got off topic for a second. I said he was 1-2 in his last 3. Who is that against, right? The win, whatever. I'm more focused on the losses here. He's lost to Surreal Gone and Jolton Almeida. Wow, I have pulled 2 out of the, 4 or 5 athletic heavyweights in the division. Like, no shit he's going to lose. Here, binoculars enhance. Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now, ARB, does he look fat or like one of the 5 athletic heavyweights? I'll give you a hint. The abs I'm seeing on him is drawn on. They're not real. They're made up in your head, dude. They're fat folds that kind of look like them. So, with that being said, Serghei Spivac only losses coming to the most athletic guys in the division. I think it is a lot easier for Spivac to go cow tipping against a fatter guy, knock him off his balance, a guy who's really good in the clinch throws, and has also had matchups against Tom Aspinall on top of that. These are some really impressive guys that I know he's lost to by round 1 finish, round 2 finish, stuff like that. These are still really good fights, really good training camps, really good experience to get under your belt. Hey, I got caught here. This is what I did wrong. Does it not look like Spivac has clearly improved every time? Like, when he fought Tybura, I was like, oh, Tybura is going to just sit on him, crush him with his belly. Then he goes for an armbar off bottom and gets him good. That Jolton Almeida fight, I know he got finished, but he was looking good up until that finish. That fight was looking pretty even. He got controlled more on the ground, but he even rocked Jolton Almeida standing up. Let's talk about, I was like, oh, I'm going to go on a Ryan Spann rant. I just remembered his last one was Ryan Spann. I picked, and this is why Cortez got to lose. I picked Ryan Spann to beat Cortes-Acosta. In my thumbnail, I gave Ryan Spann a dunce cap. Now, why on earth did I pick him? Beats me. Shocker. He went in there, throws the worst technique spinning wheel kick I've seen in my life. And then, shocker. Okay, you're getting outstruck for a round and a half. Should I take down early in the fight to not wait till I get absolutely gassed? No, I'm going to wait till I get outstruck for a round and a half, become absolutely gassed, shoot a horrible takedown, get pushed over, and get my head thudded into a canvas by a 265 down salsa dancer. Smart IQ. And by the way, Cortes-Acosta, or whatever his name is almost losing to Jared Van Dera, right? He is almost losing to Andrei Arlovsky, who, by the way, I swear is ordering off the 55+ IHOP menu. How are you losing to a guy? That I know it's heavyweight too, to be fair. Then he is also actually losing to Rodrigo de Lima, whatever the big thumb heavyweight is. And I know Cortes-Acosta has improved a lot from the Jared Van Dera fight or the Arlovsky fight, but I don't think enough to catch up to the more athletic breed of Serghei Spivac. Not that Serghei Spivac is the surreal gone Tom Aspinall caliber, but he is that branch, that step up between the fatter guys. And you could see he is a lot more athletic, a lot more slimmed down, cut, and a really good wrestler, which I think will come to bite Cortes-Acosta in the ass. Also, not being fat, a lot less likely to gas out, just controlling the tubby guy on the ground with technique instead of just pure muscle trying to push the guy over. Serghei Spivac, round 2 or 3 sub. Gonna set back the clock with this one, and probably gonna feed a nice up-and-coming prospect. Maybe Taliesin Teixeira fight next. But moving on, Azamat Murzakanov versus Brendson Ribeiro. I think this mostly is a non-fight, right? So, Azamat Murzakanov, he is just such a solid striker. His timing is cracked. Remember that knee on, I think it's Tefan and Chukwi, I'm pretty sure his name is, right? He outstruck Jacoby, who I did check. He was 10-8 in glory. But Jacoby, for UFC striking standards, is actually a really solid striker. Long-rangey guy compared to Azamat, who is only 5'10". And Azamat, for the first 2 rounds, was just outstriking him, letting them cleaner, more powerful shots, hurting Jacoby. Now, did Jacoby troll the 3rd round by not finishing Azamat and just trying to clinch with him? Sure. But Azamat still just clearly outstruck him for the first 2 rounds, which was very impressive. On top of that, finishes Alonzo Menefield, who I know is a bit sloppy and does troll half the time too, but ranked guy, solid win in the light heavyweight division. Like, I know he's 36, but 36 in the light heavyweight, that's different. Azamat Murzakanov is a great striker, and I'm not only, with all those things said, I also have to bring down Brendson Ribeiro a bit. See now, Brendson Ribeiro got chinned by Zhang Mingyang, who, by the way, have you seen Tokos being salty as hell with the Zhang Mingyang loss? He's like, honestly, look into it, guys, because he was saying It was the only fight on that series of Road to UFC where it wasn't drug tested. Zhang Yang was the only guy non-drug tested throughout that series, apparently. Apparently he was skinny fat before that, if you could find pics of him, versus where he is now. I didn't check if he was skinny fat before it. I just saw Tuco Tokos ranting. He said he also in the Navajo Sterling fight, he felt like he could have done a lot better. He thought Navajo was gonna have more power. He over-respected him. He said he doesn't even really feel like he's gotten a fair chance. He hasn't really got to show off his skills. So look out for Tuco Tokos. Watching all his interviews. But back to Brendson Ribeiro. He got chinned pretty bad by Zhang Yang, the alleged Roy cheat. And then got subbed by... No, not sub, sorry. But he is coming off subbing that fat Eagle FC guy. That kind of was revealed to be a fraud, right? He got dropped and subbed by Brendson Ribeiro. It looked pretty bad. He just got absolutely clowned. But I know the guy was 10-0 on the Kazakh scene. Oh, wow. But he did come in 5 pounds over, looked like an absolute slop fest, and just got done by an athletic Brazilian guy. Not much to say other than I think it's just like Asmat has a lot more proven compared to Brendson Ribeiro. Brendson Ribeiro has locked in his technique a lot more, has stopped fighting as crazy, going for these wild exchanges, has realized the chin hasn't always been the best. But on the other end of that, Asmat will still find it. Asmat is fighting Jacoby, guys who are fighting super safe, fighting the Tafan, who's made it all the way to the third round, and still finding his chin. Still waiting. He is still a very patient guy. He's not going to be sucked in by a war, nor is he going to be sucked in by a patient guy trying to wade you in. Asmat Murzakanov is he's literally the professional. Look at his nickname. He's not going to be sucked into nothing like that. Asmat Murzakanov, round 1 or round 2 KO. It's going to be brutal. Hopefully some follow-up shots too, just to make it crazy. But moving on, Joshua Van versus Bruno Silva. If Joshua Van is not one of your top 2 current favorite flyweights, I mean, this guy has looked amazing. He has been setting UFC records, right? Or I guess not setting. He is holding a current UFC record. This record is very liable to change all the time. I guess that is setting a record. I don't know what I'm on about, but only ahead of Tom Aspinall on that record too, significant strikes per minute. And Tom Aspinall is kind of cheating. He's finishing everyone and just landing 100 ground and pound shots. Let's be a little bit afraid of Josh Van. He's got a heart. He can't finish. Couldn't finish a fly. But Bruno Silva. Actually, let's talk about Joshua Van first, because I love Joshua Van. I think his combination punching. Actually, no. I want to talk about Bruno Silva first, because then it'll work into Joshua Van. Bruno Silva and Waldo Cortes-Acosta are in the same spot in their division where it's like, hey, they're both solid, but they're kind of the turtle in the tree. Not the turtle in the tree as if they didn't belong there or don't have the skills, but it just feels out of place compared to everyone else. It's kind of like when, who was it, like a Richie Lang? Or who was the guy who beat or got triangled by Match Now? Whoever that guy was, he was ranked at a point and it was like, how did he get ranked though? That's the same thing Bruno Silva. I know he got 4 performance bonuses in a row, which is insanely impressive for flyweight, but who the hell was he beating? I don't know these guys, right? Joshua Van, he got ranked and it was super entertaining, and then got cut from the rankings. And it's like, okay, if we're cutting him from the rankings before he even lost, why was Bruno Silva held at rank 12 for so long? I know he's been dropped down a bit, but why was he ranked so high for so high? I know it wasn't in the top 10 or anything, but ranked at that spot. Why did he jump over so many names, right? He didn't beat like a Charles Johnson with like a shocking crazy sub or anything. But why? I think the thing is, Joshua Van's problem will always be a guy with power, but I think it's not just going to be a basic bare bones has power. He might chin you. I think it's going to be a rangy striker that hits you from long out, like Charles Johnson did with the 1-2s and making you come into his combos. Things like that is what is going to get Joshua Van in trouble. I think Bruno Silva kind of got exposed by Manel Kape. Some big holes in his striking. His defense. He is looking to counter after you are done your combination half the time. He does just freeze up when you land your big combos. And when he counters, it's not like he's throwing a big combination back. He's trying to look for a big 1 or 1-2 big counter. So you could enter in with a nice, solid 3-punch combo, 2-punch combo, just waiting for him to counter. As long as you have, like Joshua Van does, as long as you have good defensive work and good reaction time, you're able to read when he's ready to counter, pull back, make a miss, then come back in with your own counter. I think Bruno Silva will actually be finished because he did start to fade in that Manel Kape fight. I know Manel Kape did put up a big pace in round 2, but he was also getting cup shotted over and over and over again. Bruno Silva was just flat out cheating. And think he is pretty breakable with body shots. And as long as Bruno Silva isn't spamming takedown after takedown after takedown and just super desperate and dragging out this fight, I think this will be a pretty clear Joshua Van finish with his combination work and his solid defense. Especially because this man is shorter than Joshua Van. Joshua Van has been pinned up as the pipsqueak, and that's why he's not good enough at flyweight. Bruno Silva is an inch shorter, so there's no reason to pick that guy other than, maybe fluking a shot. Moving on, though. We're on the main card. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. So Kevin Holland does have solid jiu-jitsu, but he is lacking a lot of control, right? He is a good rangy outside striker, but Vicente Luque has shown pretty safely that he has dealt with rangy outside strikers pretty well, right? Let's keep going, though. Solid close fight with JDM. Okay, but he's still pretty clearly lost. Even though it was close, he's still just lost, right? Buckley age win good. It was at welterweight. Buckley debuting during the Apex days. Same with the Hernandez fight. It was Hernandez coming into the UFC, debuting back in the Apex days. Kevin Holland was at middleweight. Like these guys were gun shy, stepping in the division. They were nowhere near the caliber they are now. Those were shells of themselves, right? And when you look at a lot of Kevin Holland wins, like Ponzinibbio or Tim Means, you can make an excuse for these guys' age. There's a lot of loopholes you can look, and I know you could do that for a lot of fights, right? Like Vicente Luque went over what's his name? Rafael Dos Anjos. You can make an excuse, he was old. He was washed up. He's a veteran. But Ponzinibbio and Tim Means hold nothing to the legacy Dos Anjos holds. First of all, but second of all, Ponzinibbio and Tim Means were getting cracked from a long rangy striker getting dropped and finished in fights that they were kind of making look not close in the sense they were winning, but again, just close. They were live dogs in that fight that could still do something. On the other hand, Vicente Luque versus Rafael Dos Anjos didn't land a nice clean shot to finish it up, and maybe he could have been outskilled, but he had more power. No, he outskilled Rafael Dos Anjos for 5 rounds straight. Didn't make it look close. Completely out-wrestled him. And when I said Kevin Holland has solid jiu-jitsu but lacking control, that's where Vicente Luque's strengths come in. He is not lacking control at all. He is very strong in the control aspect. He will hold that sprawl position, look for his darces, right? He will hold the top half guard position. And I know he did fumble it a bit in that Joaquin Buckley fight, but that was a reinvented Joaquin Buckley. And Luque, who wasn't looking the same, looking a bit shy, coming back after one of the most brutal recoveries you could imagine, a brain hemorrhage, right? Like, it was after that Jeff Neal fight, which was brutal. But the double legs he was putting against the fence, I could see the same ones working against Kevin Holland. Now, Kevin Holland did look good against Gunnar Nelson. But then again, Gunnar Nelson fights once every summer solstice. Where the fuck is Gunnar Nelson half the time, right? And when I said Vicente Luque has proven himself against rangy strikers, we're talking Jalen Turner, we're talking Randy Brown, we're talking Thamba Grimbo, who I know you wouldn't imagine as a rangy striker, but who is 6'1", and who has a solid reach, not to the reach of Kevin Holland, but Randy Brown fucking does. Randy Brown is a really good, well-aged win, and I know that wasn't prime Randy Brown or prime Jalen Turner, but they were not shells themselves as much to the extent of Joaquin Buckley was when he fought Kevin Holland. But Vicente Luque did lose to Stephen Thompson. Leon Edwards have problems with those lanky guys. Well, here's the thing. Leon Edwards won the belt and defended it against Usman and defended it against Covington. Whatever you want to say about that, he is a 2-time defending champ and beating one of the greatest welterweights of all time. And on top of that, Vicente Luque lost what to Stephen Thompson? A decision? A decision where he was still live in it. Kevin Holland got finished, and I know it was a corner stoppage with a hurt hand. Kevin Holland, other than rocking Stephen Thompson in round 1, like he rocked Ponzinibbio, rocked Tim Means, got the shit kicked out of him. Outside of landing that one nice punch like he does every fight. Like, Vicente Luque has a solid chin. I think he will recover. I think this isn't the full shell-shocked Vicente Luque we saw in that Joaquin Buckley fight. I think this is not prime Luque, but I think this is still a solid version of Luque that won't quit, that won't stop walking forward when he has been caught with one clean shot. I think Kevin Holland might land it in the first round, but I think Vicente Luque will trudge through. We'll get some top control time, riding out some rounds, making it in a close round, a big moment where he can steal it. Things like that. I think Vicente Luque won't finish Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland still has some solid defense where he knows how to stay alive on the bottom when he's not at middleweight. But Vicente Luque is a really good dog. I think there's some good underdogs I'm picking on this card. You'll see later on, but yeah, Vicente Luque by 30-27. I think some interesting fights on the card, but here and there on some finishes. This might be hit or miss on entertainment. But Mario Bautista. I'm actually really excited for this fight. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. I have a lot to say about this. So, Mario Bautista. I think we people might be getting on the hype train really quickly again with Mario Bautista. Like, sorry, I just had to check with them. Mario Bautista, everyone hates him after that Jose Aldo fight. What's the fight before with Ricky Simone? Everyone was, oh, that was the more give fight of the night. Everyone was on his dick on that fight. Everyone was loving him, right? But then again, everyone was mad about the Damon Blackshear robbery. It was a close fight. I mean, you could argue it either way, to be fair. But Iron Chin against the Ricky Simone fight. Like, and he got rocked by Aldo, recovered really well. Damon Blackshear fight, I said was close, but still just outdid him. Proved he was skill for skill, at least equal with Damon Blackshear. Damon Blackshear has proven a lot since then, right? Think of this too. He trains with Sean. So Patchy Mix is a primarily a grappler with some striking. I don't really like his striking. I'll break down his striking in a sec, but he trains with Sean. Who do you think Sean is bringing in? Fighting Merab. We're getting some of the best grapplers around in that city. You don't think Mario Bautista is going in training with, I mean, not the same super heavy grappling or super grappling heavy style per se as Merab. Like, I mean, wrestling focused, maybe a more jiu-jitsu focused guy they'll get in for Mario Bautista, but still solid grappler after grappler after grappler. Now let's break down more of what makes Patchy Mix work and why I don't think it'll work in this matchup. So he has some cool things, like when he gets the guy's back, he'll kick off the fence in the center of the octagon, like when he's standing on the back. But the staple of his grappling is either a back take, which we've seen guys like Horiguchi survive pretty easily and go 5 rounds. Even though Horiguchi lost, he survived. We've seen Juan Archuleta survive positions like that. I'm pretty sure. I might be confusing it. But then beat Patchy Mix in a decision. I think pretty clearly too. Not like, oh, we dominated him, but it was just pretty clearly Juan Archuleta's fight. And then past that, the guillotine in the Magomedov fight, sure, it was a solid early finish, nice guillotine, but it felt those scrambles felt so slow. I feel like if you have any top 10 bantamweight in the UFC in scrambles like that, they're scrambling out of that guillotine. They're fighting so much more. And I know Magomedov went out. He didn't tap. He didn't like give up or anything. But that scramble wasn't as strong as you see a lot of the other guys in the UFC going, jumping past those, like just fighting, having a little spastic moment when they're freaking out, doing everything they can to get out, right? Shit like that. And on top of it, Patchy makes his wrestling style. It's very heavy on trips, not as much as the single or doubles. You see a lot of his highlights come from big suplexes, slams in the clinch, a lot of clinch work takedowns, a lot of more of a Greco-Roman style, but some other cool trips worked in with it. Things like that, Mario Bautista, I feel like, is so ready for. He has spent a lot of time in that Damon Blackshear fight, in the Mario Bautista fight. It was a dogfight because they were between the striking and clinch train. They would strike a lot, get to the clinch, break free. Oh, who else was he in the clinch a lot with? Oh, Jose Aldo, the entire fight camp for that, breaking down the Merab style, probably preparing Sean O'Malley, helping that with Merab too, right? There's so much with Mario Bautista's game plan. He's been prepared so long for grappling matchups like this, and I know this fight was meant to be with Chito Vera. Do you not think he was just going to try to take down Chito Vera too, by the way? Don't think he was preparing for the ground game of that. And on top of all this, whether the grappling was convincing you enough, watch Patchy Mix's striking style. Watch his feints. They are so sometimes painfully slow, like in the Magomedov fight when he throws 2 like front kick feints before he throws the hook kick. Those feints are so clearly feints. They were not going to be a strike at all, and if they were slow as hell. There's nothing clear about him. And he goes for that lazy hook kick that was so clearly not just step back, dude. Like that was so obviously gonna be a kick thrown high. Like what the fuck else was that gonna go? His feints are so obvious. His footwork is very plotty, very waiting. Like the Rafion Styles knockout, cool. He timed Rafion Styles, Freddy Fazbear jumping in with a knee. But when you're not diving in head first into Patchy Mix's knees, he is more playing off the counter game when he's finishing you. Him waiting forward into his big combos aren't that impressive. He's usually waiting forward, just trying to get to the clinch. His counter game is decent, but it's just because he doesn't have the best footwork to come forward into nice combos. It's very predictable what he's going to do. It's very slow what he's going to do, and it's very flat-footed too when you watch him what he's going to do. It's not very nice footwork to watch compared to Mario Bautista, who uses a lot of movement, who's in and out a lot. I think it'll just kind of freeze up Patchy Mix, have him waiting and getting outpointed. Not as boring as Yair versus Patricio, but it's going to be the same Bellator guy loses by somewhat uneventful decision, but clearly Mario Bautista wins. Moving on. This fight might be a slaughter. There are some people picking... Sorry, I have the order fucked up. I didn't even save this one. There are some people picking Kelvin Gastelum when this fight was originally scheduled in Mexico City when Joe Pyfer was blaming Mexican food for being and that place for being a shithole. Excuse me. God damn, this is annoying. But Kelvin Gastelum. How are people like, man, the leg kicks are gonna get to this might age really bad, but they're like, the leg kicks are gonna get to Joe Pyfer. Man, people are interested in Kelvin Gastelum. No, they're not. Leg kicks worked. Like the thing is, when they worked in those fights, once the opponent adjusted to the leg kicks, like Chris Curtis, Kelvin Gastelum had no plan B. Kelvin Gastelum comes in with a really strong plan A. Comes in looking solid in round one. Not every time, but when he's fighting these lower unranked guys that aren't the Autosanias, the Robert Whitakers, he comes in with a solid round one, like he did with Chris Curtis. Also came in with a headbutt, which was pretty unfair, but comes in with a solid round one. Has the guys trying to figure him out, solid, okay. This is how he times his leg kick. Oh, once in a while he'll time it up into a big head kick. Wow. He lands some nice big old hooks. Joe Pyfer will figure that out in 2 minutes. Joe Pyfer has nasty overhands, nasty uppercuts, sets them up really well, isn't just throwing them like a complete brute. By the way, they have both fought Jack Hermanson. What happened in the Kelvin Gastelum fight? Got tipped over like the fat cow he is and instantly heel hooked. Shocker. What happened when Joe Pyfer fought him? Really close back and forth war where Joe Pyfer banged the first 2 rounds and then Jack Hermanson rallied for a 3-0 comeback, which was very impressive. See now, Jack Hermanson, only takedown that worked was in round 5. The wrestling was completely negated by Joe Pyfer. The grappling was completely dead even, no one landing shit on each other. Very impressive for Joe Pyfer. And since then, has been just training with Sean Brady. Do you think the wrestling has gotten better or worse with training with Sean Brady? They're better, right? So, all the wrestling standards, right? So, not afraid to mix it up. Not afraid to, oh my god, is Joe Pyfer going to throw an overhand? Oh, duck down. Oh, it's a fucking uppercut. Oh, Joe Pyfer, by the way, is really strong in the clinch. He proved that in the Barrio fight, where he lands a big shot. Clinches up again. Breaks, lands a nice big old blitzing shot. Insane power, by the way. There are so many things in favor of Joe Pyfer. By the way, his own leg kick is decent too. Let's not forget that. He is willing. What I also am very impressed with in that Jack Hermanson fight, he showed before even having to get fraud checked, he showed his patience is already on another level when fighting these top level guys, knowing that he has to respect them. He knows to fight patience, and he still lost. And now he's just got fraud checked even more to improve, knowing, okay, patience was good here, but maybe I need to blitz here a little more. Push heavier here. Hey, I know I paced myself really well for that fight, but I was surprised with how good my cardio was. Maybe I could exert myself a little more here, make this round a little more clear, push when I need to push to bank this 3rd round, and then coast a little later. Things like that are so much more well settled into Joe Pyfer. He's so much more settled into the UFC. A lot less pressure on his back on this, oh my god, Joe effing Pyfer, dude. Things like that. Dude, this Joe Pyfer is going to smoke Kelvin Gastelum, I think. I think we might see Kelvin Gastelum out cold, like full body torque head bounce, and hopefully not a Dan Henderson, Michael Bisping follow-up shot, but I think we're going to see a dead Kelvin Gastelum in there. Not actually dead. I'm not wishing no harm. I'm just saying he's going to go back. Moving on to this fight. I'm being Mr. Controversial. I'm picking just to pick. I'm picking Juliana Pena. Fuck you. I'm not picking Kayla Harrison. I watched Lucas Tracy, and Lucas Tracy didn't 100% convince me. I was already stuck in my own way, but he made some extra good points with Kayla. And I was also watching the Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison interview. Juliana Pena, first of all, is fucking cooking Kayla Harrison 80%. Kayla Harrison will once in a while come with a good line here and there. Juliana Pena is cooking her brutally. You've never made 135. You've never had the 1350. You made 136. You've done all this. You've never cut that much weight. By the way, Kayla Harrison's striking looks shit. Watch her last fight. I mean, watch the fight before that where she's not just throwing the female down on the back, holding her down. By the way, she did just get beat by that brute Brazilian in PFL. That's what it's called. Jesus, they're such a washed-up organization. She get beat up by that brute freak neck tech too. It's like Josiana Nunez as a final boss. That's who she lost to in the PFL. And my lady, who Did look solid against Chris Cyborg. Still got beaten up by Chris Cyborg. So it's not like this lady is now undefeated. Oh my god, crazy record. No. Kayla Harrison lost to that girl, proved she had 0 striking. And when the wrestling isn't all there, it's kind of like she's stuck in the mud and she can't turn into gear 2 when she's forced to strike. And she's really solid in the clinch, yes. But look at Juliana Pena's last fight. She loses some early rounds. Like, she got dropped by... She got dropped by Nunes, and I know she still clearly lost that fight and didn't bank any late rounds like I was saying. I'll get to that point later. She still, when it gets to the ground, is super good at surviving when she's hurt on the feet. And I don't think Kayla Harrison's going to hurt on the feet to the point on the ground where she needs to survive, right? And may I say, I know Kayla Harrison is really solid on the ground. She did judo forever, bitch. What's her name? Nunes was doing jiu-jitsu forever and got into MMA a lot sooner than Kayla Harrison did. I think her ground and pound game is going to be a lot more solid than people like Kayla Harrison. And still, Juliana Pena found a really solid way to survive on the ground and wait. And I think she'll be able to lock up arms. I think if Kayla Harrison gets too into the ground and pound, trying to what I was going to say is Raquel Pennington, she got hurt pretty bad in that fight and still took some other rounds, made it pretty clear. Not clear, it was a super close fight. But just, by the way, thank God she beat Raquel Pennington. Imagine if we had to sit Raquel Pennington through Kayla Harrison. I'm going to beat you, girl. Yeah. Say it to me inside the octagon. It would be the most boring. I'm going to fall asleep while talking like this. But Juliana Pena, I think, has the survivability, dude. Like, the way she almost subbed Nunes twice in that second fight. I know that was a brutal beatdown where Juliana Pena was throwing punches like this, right? Like she was trying to break her own elbows or something. But when she weighs in like that, it's horrible to see. But when it went to the ground and she was almost hitting an armbar, almost hitting a triangle, when Kayla Harrison is going to be throwing a elbow, getting overzealous, trying to finish the fight, overextends with an elbow, gets it isolated and turned to an armbar, even though it doesn't finish the fight, it stalls it. It drags it later. Oh my God, they're standing. Kayla Harrison has no fucking technique striking. And then Juliana Pena comes in. They're head to head, but not really in the clinch. Like little rabbit punches, clinches. Kayla Harrison tries to go for a big throw. Falls face first because she's exhausted. Boom, 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 boom. Little fucking idiot inside hooks that are just going to steal round. Kayla Harrison's going to look overly gassed. And Juliana Pena, as much as she doesn't have the technique, she showed her gas tank is all there. And she's consistently fought to 130 or consistently cut to 135 without a problem. Kayla Harrison, there's been all this talk, and I know she cut to 136 pretty fine last time. Not too much of a problem. But it's just an unanswered question. That's the thing. Where has the 5-round been when she's cut to 135? It hasn't been. It hasn't been anywhere. We have not seen it at all. We have not seen her 4 and 5 round. Cutting to 135, tested like this. And fighting someone who I know Julia Pena doesn't have the most skill. But she will break a bitch. She will break a bitch, bend her over, and send her back to Timbuktu where she belongs. Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 3 will be the fight of the century. Put that in the sphere. Just spit everywhere out of excitement, by the way. Moving on to the main event. Merab versus Sean O'Malley. Sugar Shane O'Malley. See, there's a lot to say. I'll start with Sean. See, now, going under the knife as an athlete, it's a big thing, right? It's a very risky, because you see guys like Thiago Santos and Tony Ferguson, they never came back the same after. But Sean O'Malley, I think, has an IQ over 30. And also didn't get his leg completely ripped off by John Jones and had to relearn how to walk. It was a torn labrum, 3 to 4 month recovery. I think when he does his recoveries, he does them very smart. He has a very smart team around him. Smoke weed, bro. Fix that up with some weed. No, I don't think they're that retarded, but I think the solid recovery. And here's the thing though, with that labrum, after post-surgery, so it's been like, 9 months, 10 months since that fight, he has been, for 3 of those months at least, just sitting there waiting. Whilst Merab has fought Umar, another wrestling training camp. And may I say, in that training camp, was Umar not the style to beat Merab? Amazing outside striking with nice, quick little blitzy 1-2 combos. Nice little question mark kicks. Just a really solid style to outpoint you from range, like he did Corey Sandhagen, by the way. Nice style to outpoint you from range while I negate the wrestling at least, if not trying to take you down. And by the way, Umar banked 2 early rounds against Merab. Merab unfazed, still emoting, by the way. So much aura from this. Still, he completely saved his entire fan base with that. Like, he already had a big fan base, but Holy shit. To rally 3-0 against Umar, everyone's counting you out. It's like, oh, Umar's going to win. To rally 3-0, emoting, fucking embarrassing him too, by the way, the entire time. Well, Sean O'Malley's just sitting out. Oh, got a labrum tear. Can't train wrestling. Umar has another full camp. By the way, his legs fucking hanging off his body. He has to lie to the athletic commission. Oh, Umar's crying. My hand, my hand. Merab's like, okay, my fucking knee's falling off, dude. I have a hole in my shin. I have 9 types of staph infections that haven't been discovered by doctors yet, and I'm still punking your ass. Like, that was so impressive. That, with all that being said, too, I like what Sean O'Malley, I had a little preview of the Mighty Cast before getting on here. He made some good points. DJ was talking about, oh, you have a nice Darce, man. You caught me in that Darce a couple times. What I do have to say, Demetrius, why is everyone catching you with a Darce? I'm starting to think you just have no Darce defense. I know Islam has a good Darce, and that's excusable. Sean O'Malley, come on, bro. You're Demetrius John. You've been training Jiu-Jitsu forever now. You should be able to defend that. But Sean O'Malley did say, offense is very important. If you're not focusing on the offense, you're going to be all on defense. And so when you're in that sprawl position, if he gets it, going for things like Darces, not overcommitting to them, but just threatening them to change the position. Very important. Staying offensive in this fight, and I do like that. But then again, what if it just leads to more danger? What if he just goes for a Darce and Merab just like, okay, let me circle around the side. Oh, now I've fucking exploded into a back take because you're dumbass. They know nothing about Georgia wrestling. Ain't know nothing about circling to the back from the sprawl position because I'm so damn athletic. You know, Makayev kept hitting that. Or he would hit the sprawl position. Not keep hitting that, sorry, but he hit it really cleanly against Tim Elliott. Shit like that. Explosive shit. Against a lanky guy who is going to have problems being into a fully grounded position to fully stand up. That's a lot more movement with those big old toothpick legs, big old ear cleaner legs. Q-tips is what they're called. But let's talk about Merab more. I'm talking about O'Malley a lot. That Umar fight sure was very important. Sorry, that round... Let's actually talk about that round 5 body kick. Let's talk about the last fight. That's what I'll end this on. Let's talk about that last fight where Merab takes that teep to the body. That was very big in that fight, right? O'Malley showed he hurt Merab. What could he show after he hurt Merab? He showed fuck all. He had to be patient, and Merab had to do is, run in a straight line backward. And I know he wasn't rocked the chin, falling over the place. He was still very aware of his surroundings, very aware where he was in the cage, knew where to circle, knew how to play defensively correctly. Sure. But that was still 1 minute left. Sean couldn't pull the trigger. He was chasing him down. He knew he had him hurt, but he couldn't risk it. Okay, what's going to change in this fight where Sean O'Malley hurt him? Is he going to be able to risk it again? Imagine that was the perfect scenario. Hurt him at the end of the round. That's where you chase the guy down and go full retard. You're down enough rounds where you clearly lost this fight, and he still couldn't do it. Now we're looking at this fight. Imagine he hurts him early round 1, and it's like, oh, now it's time to pull the trigger. Oh, fucked it up. Now I'm on bottom for the rest of the round. In round 1, this is where I didn't want to be. This is where... Let's see, Merab didn't push the pace, and sure, maybe it's because it's Sean O'Malley, a lankier guy, where you have to fight more patient, look for leg kicks, and I do think it's a very hard striking style for Merab to get in on. But on top of that, Merab wasn't fighting his usual fight. If he gets an early takedown, shit like that, and gets the work, maybe his clinch more. Like, remember in the Aljo versus Sean fight, Aljo pinned him right up against the fence, and both the made. I was injured. Okay, both you were injured. Doesn't count. Aljo gets him right up against the fence, hold him there for the last 2 minutes, the last minute of the round. Merab was not as much using the clinch in the Sean fight. It was a lot more pinned against the bottom of the fence or pinned into the ground. A lot more groundwork. Not the most ground and pound. A lot of just like rabbit punches, making you move, shit like that. But if Merab effectively gets to use the clinch and cuts off Sean O'Malley's movement, has him a little more scared, a little more on the back foot, and Sean O'Malley, maybe he was chasing the finish too much. Okay, what if he doesn't chase the finish? Now Merab's safer. What if that's the fucking angle it takes? What if Merab gets to freely more roam if Sean O'Malley's not chasing the finish as much? And may I say, every time it felt like Sean O'Malley was winding out or shooting out his power hand in the first fight, whether that be from southpaw or orthodox, it felt like Merab was so aware, so safe on the outside from that power hand. Once in a while, it would crack him. Or that teep was Sean O'Malley. I felt the teep and the jab were Sean O'Malley's biggest weapons, what was working the best against Merab. But that power hand was just getting duck under or staying out. Merab does such an amazing job of either being all the way out or all the way in against his opponents. He always dictates where he wants to fight. I think it's more his movement. He's been taught really strong movement and then really strong clinch. like really strong entries into the clinch or takedowns. And a guy like that is just so. That's what makes champions. People who fucking dictate when fights happen, where fights are, all that stuff. And I think he's gonna do more of the same in this fight. And guys, I'm kind of feeling a rear naked choke. I'm kind of weirdly feeling a finish. Because all this build up, I was like, maybe it's Sean. Maybe it's Sean. Maybe it's Sean. Then I was like, no. I feel the Merab finish. Bro, that thing where John Wood is like, Merab, you're having too much fun in there. I know you can finish the last few guys. I bought into it. I'm buying into everything a fighter's telling me for some reason, but I think Merab is going to get a round 4 rear naked choke, or like a kind of like a bulldog choke position. But it's going to be like leaned into it against the face, holding it as a rear naked choke. But it's going to be more entertaining than the first fight, but still a lot of stinky moments at range I'm feeling. But those have been my UFC 316 full card prediction. Thanks for watching. Peace.